Today I'm going to work by car because it was too late by walking. Yeah, and I'm a little bit late. I hope I catch the daily meeting. See. So today I'd like to talk about apply to data engineering positions, developer engineers in tech in general, from inside and outside country, and talk a little bit more about challenges, issues, and problems. Yeah, I'm looking a little bit sleepy, I guess. One good thing about coming with car to the office is that I get to charge it at the office. However, it's not free, but it's a bit cheaper than outside, and also it takes time, like 2-3 hours to have the full charge, so it's good to have the space and time here. So I get this question a lot, that how easy is to apply to a job in tech industry from inside and outside the country. So first of all, let me tell you that there is an unwritten rule for all the countries all around the world. There is no exception, and is that okay, it's more quiet here. The rule is that when you apply from within the country, it's a lot easier than outside the country. Now, how difficult is it from outside the country? It depends where you're applying to, where you're applying from, and which country you're applying to. So these are very important. If you're applying from outside Europe to a country in Europe, well, that's a different. Now I have my coffee, and let me explain it later to you after my daily meeting. See you soon. So I just had my daily with my colleagues. So we're supposed to talk about dailies. I mean, what we did like the other day, yesterday, and what we are going to do today. But also when we have time enough in the meetings, we also talk about other stuff. And one of the interesting stuff we talk about is AI, and how AI is going to replace all of us. That's what we think all the time. Even senior people, even lead people talk about it and think about it, and how it's going to change the whole thing. So at some point, everything's going to be different, every title, every job. But the big question is that how? There is no answer for that at this point, but it's just evolution. And day by day, we're using AI at different levels, but it's not that obvious how it's going to replace our jobs and how we're going to lose our jobs. But what I think is that when you're applying to these jobs, first of all, you need to put AI in your CV. So most of people think that, well, if they say something about AI, nobody gives a shit, and they think that this guy knows how to work with AI but doesn't know how to work with the basic stuff. That's not true. So you need to show that you have the basic skills, basic understanding, basic concepts, but also you can also use AI as well to make things faster, to make the development faster. That's what you need to do. So I get this this question a lot, that how we can apply to positions in tech, especially as a data engineer role or developer or some other related positions and roles. So you're either applying from within the country, whether the country is Finland or some other European countries or some other countries around the world, or outside the country, outside. So one question I get a lot is that, does it matter? Yes, it matters where you're applying from and where you're applying to. So it's a lot easier to apply from within the country you're working in, because it's a lot easier for the companies to get the visa permits. Basically, they don't need any visa requirement to have you there to work for them. But when you're outside the company, there is something called visa sponsorship. Visa sponsorship. And they need to have this visa, the possibility to apply for a visa sponsorship. Most of the companies can do that, but for two reasons they don't really like to do that. First of all, they have limited number of options to apply for this visa sponsorship, because they need to provide some documents for the government to allow them to do this. And also the other thing is that it takes long for them to do the onboarding, to bring the person into the country. It takes like months to do that, and it depends which country you're applying from. So if it's inside Europe, well, it's easier for them to do the relocating, so-called. But if you're outside Europe, it's more difficult for them. And if you're living in one of the Middle East countries, it's even more difficult for them to do that. So for these two reasons, takes time. And this visa sponsorship option, they tend to avoid it. But it doesn't mean that you shouldn't apply. You need to try applying wherever you are. For instance, if you're applying from Middle East country or from Asia countries, that's fine. You can apply to the positions inside Europe, but the possibility and the probability is a bit lower than if you're inside a country. Even I remember that back then, like 4 years ago, I was applying to other European countries, to the rest of Europe, and it wasn't really easy for me from within Europe to apply for other European countries. It was a lot easier for me to get interviews for the applications for the jobs inside Finland, because relocating takes time. Doing this paperwork is a bit difficult for some companies, even don't know how to do it. It's a simple job to do, but some companies never done it and they don't know how to do it. That makes it difficult for them. But it doesn't mean that you shouldn't apply. You need to try out. But it's a lot easier to apply for studentship. So if you come as a student to this country and then start applying for a job, it's a lot easier for the companies to give you interviews and then hire you. So that's why most important reason why so many people come with study rights, because getting study rights, it's a lot easier. This is something accepted worldwide, that for a PhD, for a master's degree, for a bachelor's degree, it's a lot easier. And in most cases, well, you need to pay some money for study rights. That's the point why governments love that, because you need to pay the tuition. But there are cases that you don't have to pay any money. For instance, for PhD, most of PhDs all around the world are basically, these are considered jobs because you get salary. But there are some cases that you actually need to pay for the for the tuitions and for the living costs. In Finland, PhD and all the education basically are free, but when it comes to paying your rent, paying your food, government needs you to guarantee that you're able to pay for your expenses. For that reason, even if you get to apply um, for a free study, right? It's not that free. You need to have like maybe I guess at least 12,000 euros in your bank account to ensure that you're going to pay your expenses yourself. That's for the government. But okay, now with this idea, if you're from India, that's fine. You can apply. We have a lot of Indian colleagues here, but it's not that easy. But you need to keep trying. I've seen big companies hiring from other countries because the problem at this point, let me tell you something else. Most of applicants think that they're competing with others. So there are these applicants applying for the position. Maybe there is 100, 200, even more applicants for a single position. And most of people think that they're only competing with these people. So they just need to have a better experience, or they just need to have better skills, better CV. That is right, but this is not the whole thing. The other thing is that you're also competing with job description itself. I've seen a lot that people even companies don't even hire people because they can't find the right person for that position. So these days they try to avoid hiring a bad person or a person who's not suitable for the job, rather than hiring a lot of people from the pool they have. So if you're better than all the other applicants, it doesn't mean that you're going to be hired. So first of all, you need to be better than others, and second of all, which is the most important part, is that you need to match the description of the job. You need to be able to solve the problems they have. So that's a very important thing. So if you have that, there's a good chance that they even hire you if you are outside the country. If they can't find it from within the country, there is no way for them unless they ask for developers from outside the country, and they can wait months, because I've seen hiring people, especially in big companies, takes like months, 6 months to hire a single person. So they don't care if you're the right person, they're gonna hire you eventually. So one important thing, you need to prove them that you have the quality they want, you're better than others, and you can actually do the job. So the most important thing I always say, that you need to first understand the job description, what they want. Having a good CV, good experience, good skills doesn't mean that you're good and you're going to find a job quickly. So skills you have in your CV, if they need somebody who can work with, for instance, airflow, which is a scheduler basically, we use it a lot in data engineering, or somebody big experience with BigQuery. If you know how to work with Snowflake, but you don't know how to work with BigQuery, or we have some other dashboards like Spark, we have NiFi, we have Flink. If they want somebody with knowledge with these tools, and you have like 10 years of experience with Python, you're professional with Python, you know how to work with some other platforms like Snowflake or Databricks, but your knowledge on these areas are low, so that means that you're not that suitable for this position. While there could be some other people in this pool of applicants that doesn't have that much experience, maybe 3 years of experience, but those experience are quite related to these skills the job description wants. So this is something very important when you're applying to jobs. That was pretty much what I wanted to talk about in this video, but if you have any questions, I can talk more about these things and also about tools. There are a lot of comments that saying that explain more about different tools you're using daily. It depends on the audience, of course, so let me know if you want to know more about these things. But yeah, let me continue my job. It was just a quick break, so it shouldn't take like more than half hour. Still, I need to do a lot of works today. Do you hear the sound? It's really amazing. Sound of birds. That's what you get living in Finland. And I can say it's quite close to the city center. It's not even far from city center. So that's it for today. I'm done working at the office. Actually, it's going to be weekend. As usual, it's time to buy some groceries for the night. And here is Prisma. Basically, it's a shopping center, but there's this big supermarket called Prisma in Finland, quite famous. You can buy it all kinds of things, and it's the surprising part is that it's usually 24-hour open, 24/7. That's amazing. Look at the prices, so cheap during summer. You can get these beautiful flowers with nice prices. So this is inside Prisma, and you can see it has all kinds of things, home stuff, kitchen stuff, and groceries over there. A lot of you and a lot of my friends ask me all the time that how it's possible that I managed to do all these things, working at least 9 to 5, and then also take care of my YouTube channels, and also doing home responsibilities, and also enjoying life and watching movies, going to theater. These things, also developing my own SaaS on the side time to time. Well, yeah, it's a little bit messy and it takes time and it's very difficult and challenging, but you get used to it. You get used to it and you just need to do it. I just grab the phone and then start to talk in front of phone. And I do a little bit of editing, but I don't spend that much time on editing or these kind of things. But yeah, it's difficult, but that's life. Just try to do it.